This is everything I ate, flying coach from LA to Dublin, Ireland. Took my vitamins, cleaned out my fridge, hello blueberries, Ubered to LAX and went straight to Le Mill for an unsweetened oat latte. Do you like my Gucci for Palestine shirt? Pre-flight liquid IV is essential. I like the white peach flavor. Purse blueberries with a spoon. Okay, boarding time. My first flight was to London on Virgin Atlantic. I almost exclusively fly SkyTeam and they're on it. Snacked on my favorite spicy masala popcorn from Dottie Snacks. By LA. This flight was 10.5 hours, so we got 2 meals. The first included a passable Caesar salad, an extremely salty, oily penne with roasted tomato, a floury roll, cream crackers, and the best part, a square of medium cheddar tillamook. This chocolate dessert tasted like oil-based whipped cream, but the ganache on top kinda hit. This Merlot tasted like freezer-burned fig Newtons and tartaric acid. 8 hours later, we were awoken to coffee, underripe fruit, watery strawberry yogurt, and an oil-soaked croissant filled with cheese. It was giving Pillsbury. I actually kind of liked it. I changed planes in London to a quick Aer Lingus flight to Dublin, had an orange juice, and we're here. We headed to dinner at the Pig's Ear, which used to be one of our favorite restaurants in Dublin. Unfortunately, the quality of cooking has sharply declined since our last visit. The Guinness bread was dry and mealy. This black garlic dish and my husband's steak were oversalted and one note in flavor. Their plate of peas and vinegar and lobster omelet were good, but I no longer recommend this bar. I generally avoid Temple Bar at all costs, but I do like the Vintage Cocktail Club. I loved their signature wheat dram, whiskey, apple liqueur, LBV port, orange oil. Our second round, though, was not great. Just avoid their tiki drinks. I'm so happy to be here. I am in Dublin, Ireland, and I have treats from the city's most interesting micro bakery. These are from Elliot's Bakery. First, we'll try their pain suisse. Look at that lamination. Beautifully executed pain suisse. We've got layers and layers of buttery cross-laminated dough, vanilla pastry cream, and semi-sweet chocolate chips inside. Best pain suisse I've ever had. 10 out of 10. We have a lemon and thyme poppy seed brioche. Wow. Brioche is soft, fresh, and fluffy, but the star here is this lemon curd filling. They've paired it with wild thyme flour cream and lemon oil. 1 million out of 10. Next we have their Basque cheesecake. Wow. This is one of their most popular items, and I can see why. Richly creamy, but the texture is very different than, say, a New York cheesecake. It's very light and fluffy, almost like a mousse. Lovely caramelized flavor. 1 million out of 10. Next we have a cardamom bun. I am not yet a cardamom bun expert, but I do hope to be after my trip to Copenhagen next month. For now, I can tell you that this is very good, but not the best I've had. Nice structure and tastes fresh, but it is a bit dry. 6 out of 10. Next we have their strawberry maritozzi, or maritozzo, because we just have one. I was not expecting fresh strawberry jam inside. If you are unfamiliar, maritozzi are Italian sweet buns filled with fresh whipped cream. Quality of ingredients is superb. These buns are light as a cloud. Some of you guys know I've had so many desserts trying to do this that just taste like bread rolls filled with Cool Whip. This is the real deal. 1 million out of 10. I've been getting a lot of comments lately accusing me of spitting out my food, which is interesting. But anyway, here's what I ate in a full day in Dublin, Ireland. Started my morning with a macchiato at Mind the Step, a local coffee shop that donates to Palestine. Then I picked up some treats from Elliot. I got a pain suisse, Basque cheesecake, maritozzo, lemon thyme poppy seed brioche, and a cardamom bun. Could I have finished all 5 pastries? Yes, they were delicious. Did I? No. What you see me eating in my review video, which is already posted, is what I ate. Later on, I headed to Variety Jones, where I had one of my favorite meals this year. I'll post a full video later, but it was a tasting menu, around 12 courses. I skipped the wine pairing and just had 2 glasses because after dinner I was headed to one of the best bars in the world, Bar 1661. They're called 1661 because that's the year the Irish spirit poaching became illegal. It became legal again in 97 and is celebrated here. They start you out with a complimentary mini poaching cocktail. I had to try their signature Belfast coffee, which contains poaching. Incredibly good cold brew. Fresh cream, demerara sugar, and ground nutmeg on top. Then I had their Twin City, which is Irish whiskey, Blackwater poaching, rum, amaro, cacao, banana. It tasted like dark chocolate banana bread. Then I walked back to our hotel. This was at 10 p.m. Look how light out it is. Today we're going to a Palestinian-owned dessert shop in Dublin, Ireland, specializing in fresh cooked-to-order kanafeh. Kanafeh Kings has 2 locations, both about 1 hour by bus from Dublin city centre. I went to the location in Tala, which is a food truck. Look for the sign that says Emo. It's right next to it. I came here for kanafeh, but their pistachio baklava was the best baklava I've ever had. The pastry was so soaked in butter, yet delicately crisp, that it actually melted in my mouth. I also got a Spanish latte, which was very sweet, but the
espresso was excellent.
They have 3 different varieties of kanafeh here. I tried 2 of them. This is their classic kanafeh, which is crispy vermicelli kanafeh, layered with cheese and topped with simple syrup and pistachios. I've had this style before in the US, but in Ireland, the cheese and butter are a lot more flavorful, so this was truly divine. Even better, though, was their nabosi kanafeh, which has a more cake-like texture because it's made with semolina dough. The flavor reminded me of hot buttermilk pancakes. The filling seemed to be more akawi cheese than mozzarella. Hence the minimal cheese pull, but the soft, chewy texture and milky flavor made this a 10 out of 10. On July 31st, Kanafeh Kings is donating 100% of sales to Palestine, so if you're local, come through. I'm in Dublin, Ireland, and I have a cake from a local home baker called Susan's Sweet Treats. This was only €55. We went with a butterscotch Jack Daniel's sponge and a mascarpone cream filling. This cake is like me, girly on the outside and kind of masculine on the inside. The first bite was all icing, but it was divine. It is a perfectly executed buttercream, but not too sweet. The cake is incredibly moist and captures the flavors of Jack Daniel's without any bitterness. Caramel, vanilla, oak. Sometimes I even taste banana in Jack Daniel's. Wait, now I actually taste banana too. This tastes even better than it looks. 1,000,000 out of 10. Drama outside my window. I'm eavesdropping. It's like reality TV, but in real life. He's also given me some Jack Daniel's sauce to drizzle on top. Together with the cake, it reminds me of a Bananas Foster. One of my favorite Michelin star tasting menus this year was also the least expensive. Variety Jones in Dublin offers a €95 chef's choice tasting menu that is ever-changing and features local, seasonal Irish ingredients. No substitutions, but they will accommodate pescatarians. Come hungry. There are technically 6 courses, but you'll get around 12 dishes, only 4 of which were bite-sized. Speaking of, the amuse-bouche set the bar high. A lettuce wrap filled with shiitake lab, crispy cod skin topped with sea herbs, a flaggy shore oyster, a savory potato waffle served with a smooth vegetal paste of courgette and basil with tomato fricassee was delicious and so much fun to eat. My favorite dish, though, was the crab. Caught just 45 minutes down the coast, served in a brightly spicy sauce made from the shells of the crab. Fish sauce, sriracha, topped with slightly pickled courgette. They've got a great wine list, including unique selections from small producers. A signature dish that is always on the menu is their spaghetti alfredo, topped with aged parmesan and served with a thick slice of homemade sourdough. My main was barbecued monkfish with a split pea curry center, punctuated by tender smoked octopus and accompanied by an aromatic jollof rice. Desserts were a cardamom-scented rhubarb baked Alaska and a refreshing fruit salad. Every dish was a 10. Chef Keelan Higgs' ability to incorporate Italian, West African, and Southeast Asian influences into one meal that still felt cohesive was truly impressive. I'm in Dublin, Ireland, and I have cookies from a Korean-owned bakery called Cookie Boy. First, we have their Biscoff, and this one is vegan. This is the most Biscoff-forward Biscoff dessert I've ever had. It's a half step from eating it straight out of the jar. The texture is very cakey, but it's incredibly rich. It almost eats like a fudge. It's delicious. 10 out of 10. Next, we have walnut chocolate chip. I genuinely love when independent bakers are inspired by Levain's iconic chocolate chip walnut cookie and then make a better version. Similar flavor profile here, but the cookie is not as thick and they've used much nicer quality chocolate. Got a mix of milk and dark chocolate. It actually has depth of flavor and enough salt, unlike Levain. 10 out of 10. Next, we have matcha macadamia white chocolate. Fellow matcha lovers, this one is worth traveling for. The flavor is intense, earthy, vegetal, umami, and the white chocolate cuts through any bit of bitterness. Perfectly soft-baked. I love the crunch from the roasted macadamia nuts. 1,000,000 out of 10. Next, we have double choco s'more. Oh. Chocolate dough base is outstanding. It has the flavor of a crinkle cookie but eats like a fudgy brownie. However, I love marshmallow, but this cookie is mostly marshmallow. Personally, I'd like more cookie and less marshmallow. 7 out of 10. Last, we have the cookie I'm most excited for. This is blueberry cream cheese. Okay, that first bite was all filling. It's delicious. It tastes like blueberry cheesecake. The blueberry cream cheese filling is divine, but the star here is this ultra buttery cookie base. Tastes like caramelized Irish butter. It's salty, it's sweet. 1,000,000 out of 10.
This is everything I ate in a day in Dublin, Ireland. As someone who believes in eating whatever you want, started my day with an iced flat white with oat milk at one of my favorite coffee shops in Dublin. Proper order. They have pastries from No Messin, a local baker who uses 100% Irish butter. This savory asparagus, lemon, and ricotta rustic was unreasonably good. Then I picked up my beautiful custom cake from Susan's Sweet Treat. Did my hair. I was going for a Rita Hayworth look, but ended up with this. This cake was so incredibly delicious. I ended up eating the equivalent of 2 large slices. Dinner was at a vegetarian restaurant called Glass. I had their 3-course tasting menu for a very reasonable €53, but I'm going to be honest, nothing tasted good. And one dish was inedible. I know some of you guys love my bad reviews, but I'm not going to roast a place that's already been pulled from the Michelin guide. I did really enjoy this Rioja. Then I headed to the best bar in Dublin, Bar 1661. They start you off with a complimentary mini cocktail. I also had a mini Belfast coffee, little digestive, and ended my night with their Parts Unknown. It's their riff on a margarita, but with poutine. And yes, it is named after our king, Anthony Bourdain. I spent just €105 on a 10-course, 1 Michelin star tasting menu in Dublin, where every single dish was a 10 out of 10. Bastible feels more like a cozy neighborhood bistro than a fine dining restaurant, but the high level of cooking and service prove otherwise. They gave me a free glass of champagne because my table took an extra 45 seconds to be ready. They start you out with a warm piece of hearty dark beer bread with cultured butter so intensely flavorful it tasted like Comté cheese. I loved the natural flavors in the tartlet with fermented sweet corn and Boyne Valley cheese, and an Irish razor clam with gooseberry foam and caviar. This dish was a tangy horseradish cream atop caviar and a deeply savory carrot tartare. I had Atlantic scallops with Irish vegetables in a sauce with layers of fresh citrus flavor, house-cured hamachi in a velvety butter sauce studded with these tiny brine shrimp, a smooth mushroom custard that ate like tofu in a sweet and sour tamarind sauce with hints of chili oil. My favorite course was my main, which was actually a pescatarian substitution for the regular menu's duck, wild halibut in a green peppercorn sauce that was so tender I did not need a knife. Desserts were a memorable Irish Wexford strawberry bavois, aka Bavarian cream, with elderflower meringue, plus a juicy blackberry rose pâte de fruits and decadent Earl Grey chocolate truffle. A truly perfect meal. Today we're eating lunch at a Palestinian-owned restaurant in Dublin, Ireland. Shaku Maku specializes in Middle Eastern soul food made with locally sourced ingredients. I started with a Palestine cola. Delicious. Tastes exactly like Coca-Cola, but with smaller bubbles, which I personally prefer. Their menu is massive. I was overwhelmed by choice, but I went with a tabbouleh salad and their mohamara and cheese manaish. After a week of eating my weight in Irish butter, this salad really hit. Fresh aromatic parsley, ripe tomatoes, cucumber scallion, bulgur wheat, dressed in tangy lemon juice. Now, the manaish I've had in the past have had more of a flatbread base. This crust was giving Domino's pizza. I didn't love it. But the mohamara, an incredibly flavorful blend of cheeses, made up for it. They used 3 different cheeses: Palestinian akawi, Cypriot halloumi, and Italian fior di latte. Incredible, and the portion was big enough to share. For dessert, I had to get kanafeh. Theirs is made with semolina flour, not kataifi. The style is known as kanafeh naameh. It has a smooth texture and is soaked in butter, pistachio syrup, and rose water, and filled with warm cheese. Strong 10 out of 10. The best meal I had in Dublin was also admittedly the most expensive. Chapter 1 has 2 Michelin stars. The tasting menu costs €215 per person and consists of 6 elaborate courses, plus optional tableside cheese and Irish coffee supplements. Chef Michael Villanen's unique culinary perspective celebrates the multicultural identity of Ireland, modernizing familiar flavors and using the best ingredients on earth. Every single bite was a perfect 10, but moments that permanently altered my brain chemistry include the intensely oceanic and slightly sweet gambero rosso, aka red prawns from Sicily, layered with Rossini Gold Selection caviar, tender lobster from County Donegal that they glazed in curry sauce and barbecue, served with various fruit-based condiments and decadent saffron-scented lobster cream rice, and the sweetest, juiciest little strawberries I've ever tasted from Saint-Tropez, paired with poached meringue, cheesecake ice cream, and savory frozen basil, and this laminated masterpiece made with Guinness and treacle, slathered in the best butter I've ever had from County Cork. They offer 2 wine pairings. One is €105 per person, but I opted for the €280 Sommelier's Selection pairing. Completely worth it. The selection significantly enhanced every dish and featured some of my all-time favorite producers like Trimbach and Chateau d'Yquem. I thought I didn't like Irish coffee. It turns out I just hadn't had it at a 2 Michelin star restaurant in Ireland yet. Add chapter 1 to your dining bucket list immediately. If someone tells you the food in Dublin is terrible, just send them this video. I was recently there for a week, and these are the best things that I ate. The Irish Cheese Toastie from Loose Cannon, which is a fantastic natural wine bar and cheese coffee shop. They make it with 18-month Kool-Aid cheese, Haggerty's cheddar, and bechamel. Best coffee shop was Shoe Lane. Perfect espresso, perfect croissants, and look at their bathroom. Best desserts were the buttery semolina Nabulsi Kanafeh from Kanafeh Kings, and the Dingle Gin and Irish brown bread ice creams from Murphy's. Best bakeries: Elliot's and No Messin for pastries, Susan's Sweet Treats for cake, and Cookie Boy for cookies. Do not skip their matcha white chocolate chip. Best Guinness was at Gravediggers, a family-owned pub since 1833. Perfectly poured drinks, and I love that there are no TVs or music, and it's right next to an incredibly cool cemetery. Best cocktails, hands down, were at Bar 1661, which specializes in the Irish spirit poutine. I went here 5 times in a week. You can stop watching this video right now if you're triggered by fine dining. The best 1 Michelin star tasting menu was Variety Jones. I liked it slightly more than Bastible, but both were fantastic. And the best meal of all was at Chapter 1 by Michael Villanen, a decadent 2 Michelin star tasting menu that left us inspired and so full that we couldn't eat until dinner the next day. Let me know if you want to see the worst things I ate. These are the worst things I ate in Dublin, Ireland. I mean, no disrespect to these establishments, and encourage you to form your own opinions, but here are mine. In 2012, Anthony Bourdain endorsed the traditional Irish breakfast at Slattery's, a pub that has been open since 1821. However, I'm certain that he would not approve of the flavorless, low-quality food they are serving today. I did love the unique interior, and my Guinness was smooth as milk. The Brazen Head is the oldest bar in Ireland, open since the year 1198. Today it is an overpriced tourist trap that may as well be in Temple Bar, and they love cops. I got their own Brazen Ale, which was too sweet but drinkable, and I made a new friend named Christina there. Speaking of Temple Bar, the drinks at Vintage Cocktail Club were wildly hit and miss. Stick to their signature cocktails, which were inventive and well executed. The Pig's Ear was once one of our favorite restaurants in Dublin. They've since lost their Michelin Guide recommendation, and the food is passable at best. And finally, a 3-course dinner at a vegetarian restaurant called Glass. This is a choose-your-own-adventure situation where you select from 4 different options per course, so there is a possibility I just made terrible choices. But the dishes ranged from underwhelming to inedible. Fortunately, I had many more fantastic meals in Dublin than bad ones, which I've already posted about.